friends. Today is Thursday, July 7th, 2022. Dying for a selfie is a meme that triggers a rueful chuckle in me whenever it surfaces in the news. Laughter, the only defense against the welling up of profound sadness. It's always about an act of vanity leading up to a tragedy, like this couple falling off a cliff, or this Japanese tourist falling down steps in India, or this one in Russia, a photographer chasing a perfect shot. But what do you call it when a whole country is dying for its leader's vanity? In today's video, I'm going to talk about a tiny parcel of land located off the coast of Ukraine, which for Ukraine is becoming a dying for a selfie meme. It's called Zmeiny Island, or translated either as the Island of Snakes or Snake Island. But either way, a relatively insignificant, but strategically and territorially chunk of volcanic rock jutting out of the water a few kilometers southwest of Odessa. Despite its lack of significance in the overall military struggle between the Allied forces and the armed forces of Ukraine, Zmeiny Island attracted a lot of attention in the news over the course of the past 4 months. It's a microcosm for the conflict itself, an example of my thesis that the Zelensky government is dying for a selfie, and examining how the events surrounding the island have been covered, I hope will help you better understand how the Ukrainian strategy in dealing with the Russian Federation's military actions has been chiefly relying on propaganda to prop up a flailing military. But before I go on, please click a like button, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. I post content regularly on a variety of topics, often focusing on the news coming out of Ukraine and Europe. Thanks. Now let's get on with it. Zmeiny Island, prior to the beginning of the special military operation on February 24th, was used by a relatively small garrison of Ukrainian border guards. On the first day of the conflict, Russia captured it, and immediately President Zelensky claimed that the men defending the island died heroically, right after they had told the Russian ship to go fuck itself. Much was made of that story, and it became a part of a narrative Kiev constructed around what it had called Russian invasion. The message was that defiant, brave Ukrainians would resist the Russian hordes bravely and to the last man, even when faced with overwhelming odds. Immediately following Zelensky's announcement, merchandise appeared with the alleged quote by the Ukrainian border guard, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." Perfect, because it epitomized the spirited resistance of Ukrainian patriots. And immediately the story told by Zelensky turned out to be a fabrication. The border guards surrendered the island without a fight, choosing to live rather than to die on a volcanic rock. And the quote that appeared on socks and t-shirts overnight has also been invented somewhere in Kiev by the public relations team. In the days following the loss of the island, Ukrainian officials were forced to admit that the defenders of the island were all alive and well. This, despite having been posthumously named heroes by Zelensky. In a couple of weeks, all of them returned to Ukraine as part of a prisoners of war exchange. But the island remained in the news. For a reason I cannot fully understand, armed forces of Ukraine persisted in attempts to recapture the island. Thus, in April, it began sending drones and attacking the island with rockets. And at the end of April, some stories appeared in Ukrainian news agencies claiming that a group of AFU soldiers landed on the island and blew up a Russian anti-air system. Then in early May, AFU conducted another set of attacks on the island, all of which ended disastrously. Tens of quadricopter drones, a few Bayraktar drones, several planes and helicopters were lost as Ukrainian military attempted to recapture the island in vain. Over a couple of days, they lost dozens, if not hundreds of men, and tens of millions dollars worth of equipment trying to retake this tiny piece of land. What is worse, it isn't even clear what the reason for all of that was. Then in June, armed forces of Ukraine must have moved long-range artillery and rockets, which they received from the west, into range of the island and began attacking it ferociously, forcing the Russians to withdraw. This they did on June 30th, announcing it as an act of goodwill, which itself is a mysterious explanation that seems to contradict the fact that even the Ministry of Defense stated in its daily update. Russian forces on the island were under threat and had to be withdrawn. And for a few days the island remained unoccupied. Then Ukrainian papers declared that their troops have raised a flag over the island, posting a picture taken before the special military operation began. This turned out to be a fibbing of facts, as the same newspapers had to admit just hours later the flag wasn't raised on the island, it was dropped off from a helicopter. Russian mainstream media and telegram channels made fun of the clumsy Ukrainian propaganda. And perhaps this is the reason why yesterday another attempt has been made to raise the flag on a beleaguered rock, this time to provide photographic evidence. And so a group of AFU soldiers landed on the island using a motorboat and began erecting the flagpole and raising the flag, perhaps even posing for selfies. Unfortunately for them, the island is in a gray zone. This means Russia has the ability to strike the island at will, and it did, delivering an airstrike by a plane. The Ukrainians suffered some losses and were forced to run. And that's damn tragic, because people died on that damn island for no reason other than to attempt to score a propaganda victory, possibly as a direct result of being trolled by the Russians. Who orders this kind of operations? Why? We'll likely find out later, once the conflict is over and details will become clear. And here is my point. Ukrainian government from the beginning treated this conflict as a media campaign, and it has been largely successful on that front. It seems to have convinced its own people and the West that the Ukraine is winning the war, that any day the tide will turn in its favor and the Ukrainian army will destroy the Russian occupiers and make them flee all the way back across the Russian borders. Any day now, victory will be theirs. Any day. For 120 days and counting, tens of thousands dead, tens of thousands wounded, ruined cities and villages, demoralized army, billions incurred in foreign debt. But any day, victory will appear as miraculously as the flag over the Snake Island. I'm not talking about the actual flag that probably doesn't even survive the airstrike. No, I mean the flag in this photo taken years ago. In a bit of happy news, here he is, happy as can be, flopping around in the water. Seeing happy animals being goofy like this always puts a smile on my face. I hope it also brightens your day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.